Hello there, this is me, Dorcas93, and this is a Pretty Rhythm Rainbow Live episode 16 review. Now, basically, this episode consisted of Wakana, another one of my favorite characters. If you know, Ito is originally my favorite character from Rainbow Live. Once I saw the whole entire, I keep going back to this, the poster, I saw Ito, and I'm like, Ito's one of my favorites. And then I also saw Wakana, but that's also partially because my favorite color is green. So, yes, and I also love cats. So, that's another plus. But, aside from Wakana's personalization, the episode starts off inside Wakana's house. Basically, her mother is giving her father things to... her father's going to be going to work. And basically what happens is then the father's very stoic for some reason, very, very strict, and just like, okay, my pants are dirty, and it's going to be your fault when they point that out. And basically he leaves. Then Wakana comes out. Her mother asks where she's going and why she got up so early, and Wakana's like, I have to go to I'm going to Etta Rose's morning practice. And basically that my grades are okay and everything, and there's no need to worry about anything. Then basically we see Belle and Wakana in Etta Rose. Wakana's looking at Belle. Belle is sort of out of it, I guess, because she's thinking about Naru, and Wakana notices it, and she's like, you seem a bit off today. Like, are you thinking about the Prism Live? And Belle's like, no, not at all. I'm not interested in that. And basically tells Wakana to go out and skate on her own. And then Wakana skates. Then we go to Prism Stone. Prism Stone is, Ku gathers all the Prism Stars in Prism Stone. Ito on Otoha, Naru, and Rine, and basically tells them that the age of the Prism Live is upon them. But Prism Lives aren't the only thing that's going to take the whole entire stage, or basically to win tournaments. It's also going to be doing Prism jumps. And basically, a good coach for that would be, and then Momo comes up, says that she'll do it, but her price is that she wants a super large, giant fruit cake. Basically a sweets cake. They make it, like all of them make it apparently. They don't show the process. And then, Momo's like, oh yeah, the secret is, but it's going to be after I finish this big huge cake. Of course, everyone's shocked about that, and Rine's like, oh, she's lost her mind. After that, we see basically Naru and the rest of Prism Stone thinking about who else could really coach them. An's like, oh yeah, I know who. And they go to the underpass, meet Kazuki. Kazuki tells them that the secret to the dancing, like the secret, is to have freedom of your movements, and that's how you'll have more fun and have better Prism shows. Then Kazuki's friends come up. Basically, they're talking about, talking about how there's a festival and that Kazuki needs to help them. Kazuki's like, all right. And then he asks the rest of Prism Stone if they want to go. They go. They set up the festival. Then Wakana sees some kids walking by, and she goes to the festival. Wakana and Kazuki have a moment because Kazuki sees Wakana, says, oh yeah, why don't you do the third Prism jump? And basically she's like, oh, I felt like I didn't really need to do it to win. And Kazuki's like, oh yeah, you're lying to yourself. And then Wakana begins to belittle the tournament. Wakana begins to belittle the festival and Naru and the rest of them. And Kazuki's like, you can do that to me, but I won't forgive you for, belittling my friends in this festival that we helped create. Basically leads her on to a shooting game. Says that if she wins the shooting game, he'll do whatever she wants, and vice versa. Basically what happens, Kazuki grabs the gun, shoots it, like he gives himself a handicap. He has to go for the harder ones, while Wakana has to go for one of the easier ones. Kazuki hits as easily. Wakana's then shaking, like, shocked, like, about it. And basically Kazuki's like, oh yeah, is your weakness that you're weak under pressure? Then Wakana's like, yeah, I quit. Like, why do I even need to do this in the first place? Like, it's not like I get anything out of it. But then Kazuki tries to help her, holds onto her shoulders and tries to help her and tells her to look down the sights at what you want to aim at and just tells her to shoot. And then once Wakana shoots, the Prism trailer comes in. The Prism trailer comes in. We see Naru on, and basically just the rest of Prism Stone, and they're getting ready to do a Prism show. Kazuki's like, oh yeah, it looks like we found our main event. Drags Wakana over. Wakana's like, all right, I understand, I'll do it. And asks Naru for one of the Happy Stones. Sounds weird, I know. But hands her one of the Happy Stones. Wakana changes into it. And Wakana's then skeptical about doing it. Like, why is she even there? She says. And Kazuki's like, well, everyone's waiting for you. And that just the key is to have freedom. Like, you want to have freedom. Wakana then goes on stage. Skates. Thinks about freedom while doing it. Feels more free. But before she does her first jump, a bunch of thorns grab her, and basically she sees Bell saying "Don't fail" from the time that she was about to do the third Prism jump in the dreaming session. And then what happens is then she sees Kazuki. Kazuki's like, "You're free," and Wakana's like, "Oh, freedom!" And she performs 3 Prism jumps. She performs Ethnic Splash. She performs Walking Flower Waltz, and a shocker to me and about everyone. She performed Fresh Fruits Basket. Yeah, that's right. The first ever Prism jump ever performed was performed by Aira. Episode 1 of Aurora Dream was performed in this episode. So that opens up a world of possibilities on who Wakana could actually be, like what Wakana could do for her 4th jump, you know? That's going to be pretty interesting. Aurora Rising. But besides that, Wakana finishes her Prism show. She says thanks to, like, Naru's like, oh yeah, you did well. And Kazuki's like, yeah, you did it. And she's like, yeah, thanks. And just walks away. Now, of course, like Otoha and the rest of them, like Otoha, Naru, An, and Ito, she has an egg following her. The egg rolls up in front of her while she's in front of a street, while she's under a light, and basically opens up and says Ethne. And basically its name is Ethne. Wakana's like, you're cute, and yeah, playing around with it a little bit. And then she gets home. Her father's like, oh yeah, what time do you think it is? And basically he says, I don't want you staying out too late. It could be affecting your grades and such. But Wakana's like, my grades are fine. I'm doing all right. Like, I understand. I'm very grateful for you not taking that job transfer so I can stay here and under, like, what I wanted. Like, I wanted to stay there, so yeah. And then after that, she goes in her room, looks at a picture at what looks to be one of her childhood pictures. She's on the far left, but in the middle of the picture is a black-haired Kazuki and An. And basically that is the end of the episode. So, very good episode. Of course it's Wakana. I like just how they portrayed her lock. Like, she was locked by Bell. Like, she was locked to not doing that 3rd jump, but then she got up to Kazuki. She got confronted by Kazuki, and basically she did that jump, which was Fresh Fruits Basket again. So, who knows what her 4th jump could be. But again, this has been a Pretty Rhythm Rainbow Live episode review. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.